VTubers. What are they? We all pretty much know what they are, but we don't exactly know who they are or what they are or what we think they are. So let me break it down for you guys, since we seem to have seen a lot of them within the past couple of years. The word VTuber is kind of more of a nickname. I was thinking more of an acronym, but it's not really so much that as it is just kind of a shortened version of a title, more or less. VTuber, or a virtual YouTuber, is someone who they kind of play a part, more or less a character behind an animated avatar, so to speak. So back in the day, we didn't really have much to kind of put that on, except for something like a roleplay character. But as of recent years, we've gotten the one VR game, VR Chat. And that seems to have made people more or less understand the idea of a avatar. Meanwhile, we've had MMOs and stuff like that, but people more or less just see that as some kind of character. When actually, the characters are sort of different in a way. When you get into things like MMOs, those are your character, but you kind of insert a little bit of your character, a little bit of yourself or your personalities into that character as well. Sometimes, some people, not all the time, but most times that tends to happen. When you have something like an avatar, whether it be in something like VR Chat or a VTuber, you separate yourself from this character, from this avatar, and you have pretty much not only created a whole new character, but you have essentially created a whole new person. So when it comes to VTubers, we have, of course, a lot of people have probably heard of big companies such as HoloLive and Nijisanji. But we have kind of more or less discovered more ways of VTubers. We've discovered individual YouTubers. We've discovered small groups of VTubers, and kind of just the stray ones that not a lot of people have either heard of or just downright and don't know. So a VTuber is essentially a virtual YouTuber, like I said. So it is essentially a person, a real person, who is not so much hiding, but disguising themselves as this completely different person. And that person doesn't necessarily have to be human, as we've seen with so many of the HoloLive characters, or VTubers, if you will. Not a lot of them are human. A lot of them are some kind of human beast hybrid. People like Nekomata Okayu or Kiryu Koko. Those are kind of half-human hybrids, where you have Nekomata Okayu as a cat girl, and you have Kiryu Koko, who is a dragon girl, I believe. I believe it's dragon. But you also have just normal, everyday humans, such as Natsuhiro Matsuri. And it's really funny to see these characters interact with each other on such a almost normal basis. Because when you see these characters interact with each other, you would think that, this dragon girl is going to talk about a lot of stuff like breathing fire and hitting people with her tail and possibly even eating people, when that's not the case at all, really. I mean, occasionally you'll see them get into character of like, oh yeah, like with Nekomata Okayu, she actually has a cat that she owns. Well, I don't know if owns is the right word, but she actually has a cat in her house. And it's actually really funny to see her interact with the cat as if she's also a cat herself. And it's really cool to see this relationship in between them. And it's really weird to think of this person as this is a person who's taking the form of an avatar, and this avatar is then having a relationship with this actual animal. So our brain kind of just does this kind of coincidence thing. Coincidence? I don't know if that's the right word. But it kind of does this thing where we kind of just kind of push reality to the side a little bit and say, okay, well, she's more human than she is cat, but she still has some cat-like attributes. So we just kind of say, it's fine. We can kind of throw that away for a little bit. And then we can watch her and watch her streams and stuff and be perfectly fine, you know. And then she turns off stream, we go about our daily life, and we pull reality back to us. And those are just some good examples I wanted to bring. But then we have other big companies, like I mentioned before, Niji Sanji. A lot of those characters I've been noticing are more or less human, not so much a human-beast hybrid. Now, when I say human-beast hybrid, I mean animal. Something that is animalistic and human together. When you have the avatars of Niji Sanji, those are more human than they are beast. Now, granted, you have like your jesters, you have your, what do I want to say, like your vampires, you have just a multitude of variety, more or less, but they're closer to the humans that they represent than they are the beasts that they represent. Like with Hololive, all those hybrid avatars that, you know, take together, and they are supposed to represent themselves, but at the same time, the other beast that is in them. Not so much with Niji Sanji, I've been noticing. At least I've been noticing. I might be kind of misled a little bit. But that's not to say that Niji Sanji characters don't get in character themselves. You see people like, what's his name? Kuzuha, I believe. I believe he is a vampire. You see him getting into his vampire ways. Now, not necessarily you don't see him like biting people, because it is a little hard to see that unless they're 3D, which some of them actually are, and I'll get to that in a bit. But you do see them getting into character. You do see them, you know, like with the demons, you do see them getting into that character. And that's something that is really appreciative, that they're more humanoid, or humanistic. Is that a word? I don't know. But you see them being more humanoid than they are their beast. And like I was talking before, with not only Hololive, but with Niji Sanji too, you've seen these people have 3D debuts and 3D appearances. That is when their avatar is more or less just a 2D sprite. Sprite? I don't know. That's a weird word to say exactly. You see these characters with just 2D sprites, and they move around. They have kind of some shifting body parts, you know, maybe some physics that actually would work in the real life, which kind of helps us concrete it more that they are a real thing. But not to mention that when you have them in 3D with actual 3D models, so like it's kind of hard for us to put it into a perspective, but when they move with their 2D, they're just kind of like moving slightly to the side, up, back, down, and we don't really get to see them in full like 3D, like being able to turn around. But with their 3D debuts and their 3D appearances, you can actually see that physically. And it's really cool to be able to see what goes on behind the character. Great example with Nekomata Okayu. You see her as a cat girl. She's very obviously a cat girl and even has a cat as a pet. So obviously, yeah, okay, she's a cat girl. But it's kind of hard to see it, see her physical features as a cat girl. But once she got a 3D model, she could then turn around and show her backside to the camera. And when she did that, we then saw what her back looked like. And it was more or less just a normal humanoid back. But one detail was that you could actually see her tail come out of her pants. There was a small hole, if I believe, just under the belt line, just under like the belt waistline, that her tail was able to protrude out of. And that was actually a really cool detail that we don't really see. A lot of cases when we see things like wings or tails coming out of clothes, there are either small holes cut in like where the shoulder blades or the waist are. And it's really interesting to see that. But one thing about physiology that people don't necessarily realize is that when you have a tail, it doesn't come out of your waist. Your tailbone actually comes down to your pelvis. Well, your spine comes down to your pelvis, and then you have about, like 2 inches, I want to say, roughly, I might be wrong on that, of something called a tailbone. And that's just pretty much the end of your spine coming down and pointing. And that is where your tail would be. If you had a tail, it would actually come out and pretty much just be flowing. That is what we are seeing in Nekomata Okayu's tail. That is what we are seeing. We are seeing pretty much what would be happening if our tailbone, if our little tailbone, I believe it's actually called the coccyx. Correct me if I'm wrong there, post. We are actually seeing what would be the rest of her tailbone. And that is actually something interesting to see because as we see, it is not coming out of her waist. It is actually coming down, I'd say about an inch or two below her waistline. Like I said, coming out of the small hole in her back, in her pants to be exact. So, that is actually something that is really interesting because to see these characters in 3D makes it more concrete that they are human, but to see these half human, half beast-like avatars actually have 3D appearances and actually have appearances that are more concrete than we see is actually really interesting. Because I never really noticed it at first, I'll be honest. When I saw Okayu's 3D model, it was very cool. I'm not going to lie. It was very, very cool. But it was odd to me that we could see a tail. Because most of the time, humans don't have tails. And with her being a cat girl, okay, it makes sense that she would have some cat-like attributes. But when I saw an actual tail, I had mixed feelings about it. So that's when I did a little bit of research and realized that she actually has the tail come out of her pants, not from above her waist or from below her waist. That was actually really cool. That was just something interesting that I thought I would share because, like I said, not a lot of people realize that physiology is a thing, and while it's cool to see something happen, we kind of have to look at it again and go, can that really happen? And it's really good that that the people who made Okayu's model actually took the time to kind of look at the physiology of a human and go, you know what? There is actually a tailbone sticking out from the pelvis. That is actually technically where the tail would be if humans had a tail. So why don't we just extend that and make that the tail? And there you go. See, that's the thing that is really weird about human proportions, is that humans don't have tails. But what if we did? That's the thing you have to think about, is that could we have tails? It's possible. We do have the kind of bone structure. We do have the right style of bone. Like I said, the coccyx. We do have that type of, that set of bones. So if that was just extended out, yes, it's possible for humans to have tails. And I want to talk a little bit about the Nijisanji people, because Nijisanji, I don't see a lot of them circling around. That being said, there's a ton of them. I feel like there's more of them than there are Hololive characters, because what are we? We're at Gen 5 Hololive, I think, with 5 members each. Now, granted, of course, I know that some members have dropped out, or if you would, graduated. But I do believe that collectively there have been roughly 20 to 30 Hololive members. Maybe 25 to 30. But when I look at the roster of Nijisanji, I want to say there's upwards of 40 or more. I'm not entirely sure. Post Purple, please correct me on that if I am wrong, or comments. If you have anything to add, please do correct me. I definitely want to learn more about this. But back on to Hololive. We have had a major breakthrough, I believe, as of this year. I'm not entirely sure when it happened. I want to say it happened before summer 2020. But we have had a major breakthrough. Many people have been asking it. And Hololive was the first to do it. English VTubers. Yes. Now, I want to stress something. Yes, I know that there have been English VTubers for quite a while now. Yes, I know. But that's not to say that those VTubers are to do with anyone officially. Most English VTubers you see are kind of individual VTubers. People that just kind of do things themselves. And you don't really see them working with any big names or any companies. Well, the first company to actually do it was Hololive, coming out with Hololive English. So I've made a small mistake in my research, and in post-editing I did a little more research and found out that Nijisanji was actually the first one to do English VTubers, coming out with Nijisanji India. And I wanted to clear that up. Seeing they both came out in 2020 this year, but seeing as how Hololive, 2 of the 5 VTubers came out on the 12th of September. The other 3 debuted on the 13th of September. And Nijisanji IN came out or debuted on the 23rd of January. So, yeah, I just wanted to clear that up, that I had the impression of that as well, but after doing a tiny bit more research, I found out that I was actually wrong as well. So, I just wanted to clear that up with you guys real quick. Sorry if the following information may be either misled or outright wrong. That is on my part, and I am terribly sorry about that. All right, just want to clear that up. Wow. I have to be honest, not too bad. I have to be honest. And as someone that has actually seen one of the debuts, unfortunately, I did not see it live. I was not there live because mostly I had heard about it after it had happened, and my brain wanted to be like, no, that's not possible. No, it wouldn't happen this soon, even if it did. But suddenly I got interested and I decided to do a little digging, and I was about 2 months late, I believe. About 2 or 3 months late whenever I started actually getting into Hololive English. And that's when I realized that it was a real thing. Comprised of 5 VTubers. That's actually quite a lot for a generation, especially considering Hololive. We have the first one that I actually saw the debut of. I don't know what order they came out in, and I don't know who did it first, but these are the characters that I know of. Amelia Watson, the very first VTuber of Hololive English that I actually saw the debut of. Some parts of her debut, I saw Calliope Mori. I love her. I'll get on her more in a second. That sounds wrong. But third one, Gaur. How do you say that name? Gaur Gura. Dang Cthulhu monster. Ninomai Inanis, or Ina. I love her. And Takanashi Kiara. Holy crap. And it's really funny to see these girls, like Hololive, Japanese VTubers, stretching as far as the eye could see, doing pretty much anything within the lines of YouTube. And of course, Hololive contracts and stuff like that. But to see Hololive English, wow, that's amazing. And to see these girls not only doing VTuber stuff, but interacting with the other girls of their generation, that's really cool. And not to mention, they've had collabs where not just one, not just 2 other VTubers, but all 5 of them are collabing with each other. Holy cow. That's awesome. Not to mention, they are actually collabing, some of them are actually collabing with the other Hololive members. We've already seen people like Amelia collab with, is it Hato? Akai Hato? We've seen, I know I just recently saw something about Callie, or I can't remember. I know she said her name was pronounced a certain way. I don't know if it was necessarily Callie. But Callie, collaborating with Korone, I believe. Korone Inugami, I believe is her name. Inugami Korone. We've seen that happen. And I want to say that there was someone else. There's someone else. Oh, Kiara Takanashi collabing with Marin. It was very weird seeing them two together. It was very weird seeing them two together, but it was kind of welcome, more or less, to see this diversity seeing Callie with someone like Korone, seeing Amelia with someone like Hato, seeing dang Kiara collabing with Marin. Holy crap. It was really cool to see them, but it really shows that you don't just have to speak a certain language and understand a person. Even if you're speaking completely different languages, you can still understand a person more or less. Even if you don't understand what they're saying, you can understand things like body language, rises and lowers or rises and declines, I think is the right term, in like their tone of voice. Like if they start panicking, their voice will start to raise, their breath will start to get fast paced and real heavy. It's very interesting to see these people who don't really speak well Japanese, if just straight up no Japanese. But it's really interesting to see them interacting with these others. Now, getting off of HoloLive English, but still staying somewhat on HoloLive, we have kind of some strange collaborations where you kind of see HoloLive collaborate with Niji-Sanji. There's only a few instances of this, and the only one I can think of is, I believe, Niji-Sanji's Inuyami Tamaki. I think that is his name. So once again, I am mistaken about something. This is actually something I did not know. Here I mentioned that Inuyama Tamaki is from Niji-Sanji. I am wrong about that entirely. He is actually from a company called Noripro. I did not know they actually existed, and there is also one other person of that group that I know of. So that is actually something interesting to note about, but that the point still stands that not only are HoloLive collaborating with Niji-Sanji, but they are also sort of collaborating with other companies as well. So that was kind of an interesting fact that I did not know about, and I wanted to clear that up because Tamaki is not from Niji-Sanji. He is actually from Noripro. So yeah, I just wanted to clear that up once again. Sorry for the misinformation. So anything regarding Tamaki and Niji-Sanji having some kind of connection, that is not true. So yes, once again, I just wanted to clear that up. Sorry about any misinformation. I think that is his name. Tamaki is, I believe he is an Otonoko when, and the English translation of that is a crossdresser or a trap, if you would like to refer to that. But we have seen him collaborate with multiple people like Rushia, Urahara Rushia, I believe is her name. Necromancer, Yandere. Need I say more? Natsuhiro Matsuri. Tamaki and Matsuri are kind of a... Just know that if those two are in the same stream, chaos is going to ensue. Much like with how Rushia and Tamaki are. But yeah, that is kind of the versatility of all these VTubers, is that whether you speak the same language or you speak none of the same language. Japanese people doesn't understand English, and English person doesn't understand Japanese. Yet they somehow can still not just communicate, but collaborate. That's really something quite interesting to see. I gotta be honest. Now, here's something that I want to get into. Is the individual VTubers, the individual virtual YouTubers. So, the individual YouTubers, there's a lot of them, and I can't even start to get into all of them because I don't know all of them, and I've only seen a few of them. But some of the people that I have seen is people like Pikami. I can't remember her last name. Amano Pikami, I think is her name. I think she's an individual YouTuber, but she's kind of along the same, not so much company. She's more with a project with about 2 other VTubers. I can't remember their names, but I know their names. It's a fire color haired twin tail kid, I almost want to say, and a very, very quiet, darker hair. I swear, she's constantly wearing some kind of jacket or something, but it's constantly up to here, so you only see this much. I can't remember her name, but I believe, what's the name of their project? I can't remember. VOMS. That's it. VOMS project. VOMS. Very cool. Very cool. I'm kind of just more interested in Pikami, although I do appreciate the others when they are collabed together. I'm more or less just there for Pikami. I don't know why. She was actually the first person I gave money to. So, yeah. It was very weird giving money to a VTuber, but I mean, I support what she does and I want her to keep doing what she does. So, why not, right? And it's really weird to be doing stuff for VTubers, but they're content creators just like anyone else is. So if you love the content that they make and you want to keep supporting them and you want to keep showing your support for them, that's pretty much all you gotta do. Even if it's just a simple following them or something, still, the most you can do for them, the better. And even then, it's but it's really cool to see these VTubers, interacting with each other. And that's not to say that we've just had Japanese VTubers. A lot of these individual VTubers, like Pikami, speak multiple languages. Pikami, I believe, speaks Japanese and English, and multiple times you will see in her streams, she will be talking in one language and then immediately say the exact same thing, but in the other language. I have had numerous accounts where I will be watching her streams and she will be saying something and I'll kind of recognize what it is. I haven't taken any Japanese classes, but just by watching anime and, just viewing Japanese content in general, I kind of get a grasp of what certain words sound like and what I can attribute them to. And it's weird to see this one VTuber talking, and she'll be talking in Japanese, and I kind of understand what she's saying, but I can't, either I can't quite put my finger on it, or I know exactly what she's saying, and, and it's oh, cool, I actually understood that. Awesome. But then all of a sudden, she switches to English, and she says exactly what she says, and I find out I was 95% close on it. I just missed a syllable or missed a word or something like that. But it is really cool for some of these VTubers to be talking in not only like different languages, but to speak in one language and then immediately translate themselves for their viewers, for their overseas viewers. And that's not something that you see a lot of in things like HoloLive and Niji Sanji. And it's something I would like to see more or less. I mean, I have seen a couple clips of people like Fubuki. What's her last name? Fubuki. I don't know. It'll be on the screen somewhere. I might think about it in this video later. But people like Fubuki, she will actually be talking in Japanese, and I guess something will come up, like, and remind her of, like, her overseas viewers or, like, her English viewers or something. And you'll see her try to, like, kind of, like, try to converse with us, with the overseas viewers. And it's really cool to see that this person who speaks very fluent Japanese and is Japanese try their hardest to get their message out to us in our language. Really cool to see that happening. And it's really weird to a sense, but it's that good weird that makes you go, you know what? This is odd, but I'm going to stick around. I kind of like this. And you end up watching more and more of their streams, and whether it be their personality, the gameplay, their commentary, you end up sticking around. And it's, you know, I don't know how many times I've turned on VTubers and went, I can't understand a word they're saying, but I love their voice and their gameplay is pretty good. So, you know what? I'll just put it on and put it on the second monitor or put on the background, and, you know, I'll just leave it on because I like their content and I want to keep watching it. I want to keep supporting them. And yeah, that's really something that a lot of people don't understand is, you know, the whole VTuber concept, you know. And I've seen a lot of things about VTubers like being, you know, accosted for just random or dumb things, more or less. And I really don't want to get into that. But all I want to say is that if you support them, then just keep supporting them and don't worry about what other people say. I've supported a couple of VTubers just by, like, following them or, you know, donating to them or, you know. I've actually thought about one of them. I'm not going to say who it is, but I have a feeling everyone is going to know who I'm talking about. I thought about buying one of the VTuber CDs, one of the newer VTuber CDs, but I don't have that much money on me, so I'm going to have to wait on that. But yeah, I'm definitely got my eye on one of the CDs, and yeah, really good. But that's really all I have to say with, like, supporting VTubers is if you want to support a VTuber, there's nothing to stop you. You know, a lot of people say, like, oh, you shouldn't support them because they're fake or they're fake girls. Or if you like what they do, it doesn't matter if they're wearing a mask or if they're wearing a costume, so to say, with the avatar. If you like what they do, even if they personify themselves as something completely different, it's still okay. Completely okay to do. So I hope this has opened up some eyes to other people watching the video. And I really hope that people understand what a VTuber is. The very first instance of a VTuber, I was actually looking on it earlier today to get some more info for the video. And I was actually informed that the first instance, now everyone can correct me in the comments below if I am wrong, but the first instance of a virtual YouTuber was by the avatar of Kizuna Ai, back in 2016. That's a long time, actually. But clear back in 2016, Kizuna Ai coined the term VTuber, or virtual YouTuber. And I guess it just kind of stuck. I can imagine some individual YouTubers started popping up, and all of a sudden we had Hololive and Niji Sanji come out of the works, and holy cow, now everyone's got some kind of favorite VTuber or whatever, and holy cow. Which is funny because when I see that Kizuna Ai was the first VTuber, I kind of think to myself, so she kind of parented the whole concept of a VTuber, and I've never seen her. That's right. I have never seen Kizuna Ai. It's weird because she was so famous back then, and while I was still getting into anime, I still didn't really care about that kind of stuff. And now that I do really care about this stuff, I've still never seen her. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a video about her later. I don't know. Once I've started seeing some of her content. But and of course, I kind of mentioned it, and it made me think about it. I'm sure a lot of you people are going to be asking me, well, since you've seen a lot of VTubers and since you've actually done some research on them, who's your favorites? Do you have a favorite? Like only one of them? Or do you have multiple? I do have a couple. I was actually mistaken about one of them. Someone I thought was from Hololive, but is actually from Niji Sanji. I would say the first VTuber I actually witnessed was Fubuki. And while I'm not a fan of her, she's okay. I like watching a little bit of her stuff. I can't really sit through a stream or something like that, but she's alright. I can see some good stuff from her. I've seen a lot of VTuber stuff. But as far as favorites go, I would have to say, I don't know. I would have to say Pikami. She would be my first choice. I don't know why. I just love her content and I love what she does. I mean, heck, she was the very first person I gave money to. And there were multiple times where I'm like, I want to donate to this VTuber. I want to donate to this one or this one or this one. And finally, one day, it was like 2 weeks ago or something like that. Maybe 3 weeks ago. That, or no. It was a while ago, actually. It was like a month or two ago, I'm going to say. Either way, I was just watching one of her streams, and I popped in. It was when she was doing Layers of Fear, I believe. I popped in, and I saw she was ending the stream. And she was going to go over to, like, super chat readings. And I don't know what came over me, but within about 5 seconds of thinking time, I got up from my chair, went, grabbed my wallet, grabbed my credit card, and donated. I don't know what came over me, but something just told me, I like this character, and I know that I support what they do, and I want to keep supporting what they do. So that's kind of where I stand with the whole donating thing, is if you want to donate to someone, that's not a problem. That is not a problem at all. I was constantly not so much scared, but nervous as to who my first donation would be to. And knowing that it's to Pikami, I have no regrets whatsoever. Not a single one at all. Now, as far as who's my favorite from, let's say, Hololive first. Who's my favorite from Hololive? That's a good question. There's a few of them I can think of. Wow. Of course, you have the famous girls like Marin. You have Fubuki. You have Matsuri. You have Aqua. You have oh my gosh, Shion. You have Okayu, Korone, Coco, Choco, which don't get those two wrong because oh dear. But it's very interesting to pick a favorite from Hololive because some people have a favorite, just one, but other people like me have multiple favorites. Like I could probably pop into any one Hololive, and I'd be okay with it. Like I said, with someone like Fubuki, it's a little hard to sit through that, for me at least, but still, I wouldn't have much a problem. It's not like I don't like what she does. It's just sometimes it's hard to listen or watch. That being said, I think I don't know. Some of the people I would have to choose is some people like Matsuri. I don't know why, but I really like Matsuri. I really like Matsuri's personality. While it is, sure, it's very cool to see like these people try to be idols and they try to be good for the people and they try to be upstanding, and then you have Matsuri being oh boy. It's very cool to see a virtual YouTuber or some kind of idol just shatter that expectation. And holy crap. But then, so I would probably say Okayu or Matsuri. Probably say one of those two, probably. I'd say Choco, but I can't, like, I don't know if it's just me, but I can't really watch her stuff. Like, it's not the fact that I can't, but it's like, as soon as I turn it on, I'm like, I have no idea what's happening. It's like, most times you see them and they're just chatting about stuff, or maybe they're reading super chats, or maybe they're playing a game. I'm never entirely sure with Choco. I'm never entirely sure with her. And it's very weird to see that. It's very weird to have that happen because most of the time with VTubers, I know more or less what's happening when I join a stream or when I watch a stream playback. But with her, I'm not entirely sure. Not entirely sure with her. But, yeah. And I guess those would be my picks for Hololive. As far as Niji Sanji goes, I already know exactly. It would be, funny enough, I have two favorites. Number 2 being extremely close to number 1, but there's just something about number 1 that I like. You guys probably haven't heard of number 1, or if you do, thank you very much. But you guys probably heard of number 2. Number 2 is Ars Autima. I believe I said that right. She is a witch, I think. And she's just a very shy girl, and she reminds me of how I was when I was very young. Only she's still like that. And I don't know why, but that's one of the reasons why I love her. And it's just very cool to see all of these VTubers who are loud and boisterous and all of this. Meanwhile, you have people like Arus, who is very quiet, very timid. She isn't loud nearly at all unless whenever she screams. And even then, you have to really scare the crap out of her in order for her to be loud. But even then, wow. It's like, jeez. Like seriously, there I saw a clip compilation of her like compilating with other VTubers, like I guess in a Discord call or something, and she just couldn't get a word in. She couldn't get a word in edgewise. There was like three or four other people talking, and every time she tried to open her mouth, she would either open her mouth but not say anything because she'd be cut off, or she would open her mouth, get about 2 syllables in before someone cuts her right off. And it's hard to see that because that's kind of what I dealt with as a kid. But it's interesting to see that these people who are loud and boisterous and just all over the walls, and to then see this one who is like just quiet, like contained, very shy. It's really interesting to see that. But stop stalling. I know you're telling me. Who is my favorite Nijisanji? Without a doubt, hands down, Shizuka Rin. She is one of the first VTubers that I actually sat down and watched like a stream of. And while at the time I didn't understand what she was saying, I loved her voice. I loved her gameplay. I loved her model, her avatar. I loved the look of it, and I still do. I just loved everything about her. And it's funny because while I say that she wasn't my first donation, she was probably the first VTuber I ever sat down and actually watched myself. And it wasn't like a compilation or something like that. Because like I said, the very first VTuber that I was like introduced to was Fubuki. But that was through compilation stuff. That was through like just clips and stuff like that. The first VTuber I actually sat down and watched myself, like I went out of my way and I watched someone, was Rin Shizuka. And it's very, very interesting to see that. So yeah, there's a lot of them around. I would say upwards of, including Hololive, Nijisanji, Vom's Project, and all the other individual VTubers, I would say there's close to 100 VTubers. And I'm not gonna lie. I would say that's close. If not, there'd be upwards of 70 or 80. I'd say upwards. So yeah, anywhere between 80 and 100 VTubers that I know about. And that's not to say that that's it. Because like I said, that's all of them that I know about. There could be some that I have no idea. And it's really interesting to see that there's a ton of them. So there's going to be a VTuber for every single person out there. If you like the loud and boisterous kind, go watch someone like probably Marin, or maybe like Matsuri. Or if you like the shy kind of go out to the people like Nekomata Okayu or Arusu Arama. Or if you like someone that just kind of is more or less off the walls but not really bouncing off of them. And, you know, I'd say go with someone like Pikami. Because she's kind of, while she is kind of all over the place, she has kind of the same straight line. Like, sure, she may be all over the place. Not necessarily bouncing all over the place, but she may be kind of all over the place. she still has an expectation whenever you go in and watch the streams. If you want to watch a Pikami stream, just know that it could be chaotic at any moment, at any time. But that's something about Pikami that usually happens. Something happens that we're not expecting, but we kind of expect it in the sense of when it does happen, we know it's going to happen. So it's not like it hasn't. It's not like we're not expecting it. We're just not expecting it at the time. And then whenever it does happen, we're like, oh yeah, that usually happens. But yeah, so I just wanted to bring that to you guys. What is a VTuber? A VTuber is a virtual YouTuber. Usually most people who stream, but that's not to say that virtual YouTubers only stream. I have also seen multiple VTubers who make YouTube videos, which it's interesting to see them do. But some of those VTubers who make YouTube videos actually use their 3D models. They don't always use their 2D. Most of the time, whenever you see a VTuber using their 2D models, it's usually during a stream when they can't really move around a lot. And if they do move around too much, then the model can go haywire. But when you make a video, that can more or less happen with any way you want. You know, you can just kind of doctor up the model a little bit, whether be it in post or actually live as it's happening, because I've seen that happen and that's interesting to see. But I hope that's opened up some eyes to all of you, and to anyone who doesn't know what a VTuber is, I hope this has informed you of what a VTuber is, and I would definitely give them a check. I would definitely give them a look. You know, like I said, there are many VTubers out there, and definitely you will find one that you will like. If not, even if it's not your favorite, like I said, a lot of people from Hololive. I can't really put one that's my favorite, but that doesn't mean I don't like them. I like a lot of people from Hololive. That being said, I do have some favorites from Niji Sanji. But like I said, just because they're not your favorite doesn't mean you can't like them. And I hope this video has informed you guys, and if nothing else, giving you the courage to, if nothing else, check some out. You know, go check out Pikami, go check out Rin, go check out Arasu, even go check out some from Hololive, because I know a lot of memes have been made from Hololive members, but Niji Sanji members have some good stuff too, not gonna lie. And the individual VTubers, holy crap, they have a lot of good stuff. I think it's mostly because they don't have like contracts to work off of. Like, they do everything themselves. So I think that's why they're like, they have some of them have better content than Hololive or Niji Sanji members. But yeah, I hope this video has brought some light to your guys' eyes, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and if you like this content, let me know, and I will make sure to do some more, maybe informational stuff or reviews or things like that. And if you like the video, definitely leave me a like. It definitely helps me out. And maybe subscribe. I've got plenty more content that I've already done, and definitely more content coming in the near future. So, thank you everyone for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. See you guys.